This is TWiT.
What about this, and Zuckerberg pointed this out in the earnings, pointed out this decline in young adult usage, in teen usage, specifically said, called out TikTok as one of the most effective competitors we've ever faced, which seems pretty darn spot on. TikTok is a force right now. Who saw that coming a couple of years ago, but here we are. Also mentioned plans to shift more to video via specifically Instagram and Reels. Obviously, we know that he has bigger ambitions on transitioning the company into being more of a metaverse, whatever the heck that is, company. Maybe even a name change at somewhere down the line. But is Facebook in a position where any of us here feel like they're capable of recapturing that younger energy, or are some of these kind of news stories like are the younger kids? Well, they're probably too young to really clue into a lot of that stuff, but they're not too young to clue into the fact that Facebook is, let's put it in air quotes, uncool. Like, can Facebook change that perception with moves like this? What do you think?
I think it's going to be tough.
I think it's gonna be hard too.
I'll be interested to hear what Jeff thinks, but I would never say it's impossible, because I think they did compete with Snap pretty effectively. They acquired Instagram, which brought in a whole bunch of young users. But if you look at the numbers, it's pretty bleak for them. Once you get below like 35, it's not good. And so I don't know if Reels is going to be enough to, it's fine, but is it? I don't know that it's enough to drag people away from TikTok.
Right.
I think that, Instagram alone. Instagram, as you just said, Matthew, was brought in the young people. I think was smart and was the way to go. I don't understand Zuck's metaverse vision. He's talking tomorrow at a Facebook event. The developers event online. And his keynote is going to be about the metaverse. I'm curious what he's going to say, because I still don't get it, as we said on the show a week ago. Since we talked on the show a week ago about the name change, I threw out a theory that I was half serious about, but I'm getting more serious about. I start to think that, I don't know whether Zuckerberg sees this or not, but it's time for him to kick himself upstairs. That's what's kind of can't be rescued, I think, is the current management team. And so if Zuckerberg were off thinking metaverse thoughts in his X-lab of Facebook, still controlling, importantly, stock and thus the company, so he's not gone. But if he took himself out of that, as I saw a story this week that says Facebook likes to think it's flat, but it's not. It all leads to one peak, and that's Zuckerberg. If that weren't the case, if, let's say, Chris Cox took over, or somebody from the outside took over Facebook as a brand, and Instagram is run as a separate brand, which it kind of is now, that's a different question. So here's my question to you: if Zuckerberg
and by the way, suggested the same thing.
Yeah, and by the way, let me just add one thing here, because I think there is something that is important. I saw a terrible tweet today, to which a writer for BuzzFeed luckily called it what it is, which was anti-Semitism, calling for Zuckerberg to be executed in a Nuremberg trial. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. It's getting bad on the other side of this now, right? So the rhetoric is so ridiculous and so over the top, and on all sides of this. So what if Zuckerberg did kind of pull himself out, just as a thought experiment? What if he really did hand over to a strong manager, he truly weren't there? It's like Larry and Sergey, kind of disappears, goes off. How much of a difference do you think that would make in the PR, regulatory view, stock equity view of Facebook?
I don't think any.
Yeah, I don't think any of that would matter.
I don't think it would change it at all.
Steps away, there's still the same core of leadership there in place that's already.
And he still controls it. He still controls it. All the votes, the entire board. Then he would just be a puppet master, sort of.
Exactly.
I don't, I don't think that would change anything about the business model or targeting or privacy or data or any of the things that people seem concerned about.
You were asking if there's a way to capture more of the youth demographic. I think that sort of reminds me of the way things are with AI. You have to look at the people working on the product. Like who's on the team of developers there across the Facebook platform that can relate to those younger people. I'm pretty sure those folks have almost aged out of that demographic by now, right? So why would we expect them to be able to relate and be able to pull those younger folks into this ecosystem?
I just keep picturing Mark Zuckerberg in the "Hello, fellow kids" jersey with the skateboard
and wearing an Oculus Quest, wearing a Quest in that as well.
I too like music band.
Maybe, is that kind of part of the appeal though, or the potential appeal to younger users, like some sort of metaverse / VR focus thing? I mean, and I don't know that it necessarily is. I feel like metaverse, in the way that I understand it, which is not very much, but in like my own interpretation of it, I feel like it's still a ways off. And does Zuckerberg think that by shifting the company towards being more of a metaverse VR, whatever company it is, that it also ends up appealing to the younger users, which are apparently
that's even more far out than in my view, that's even more far out than my theory. I don't think anybody's going to care about that. I don't think it distracts anymore.
I actually think it has some potential. I know that Facebook has been talking mostly about workplace, how you can have effectively Zoom meetings, but with your avatar in 3D, which strikes me as incredibly boring. But and I only want to do that if I can be a giant eyeball or something, like from Second Life. But anyway, it does seem as though there is some opportunity for, I know lots of kids are obsessed with whether it's Minecraft or Roblox, or there's lots of potential there. I think for kids are more used, I think, to being open to that type of environment, to a fully virtual environment. So whether Facebook can pull that off or not, I don't know, but
they're certainly positioned in a way that, at least from a technological standpoint and from having the money to kind of back it up, they're certainly in a position to be the player that has the most potential of making something like that happen. I just don't know if it satisfies kind of like what I was talking about, if it actually really energizes and gets the younger users really excited about Facebook again. I agree, Jeff. I think that's a much further off in the distance.
And by the time they get that going, what we consider young will have shifted completely.
Right.
And the kids of today will be the adults of tomorrow.
That's true. That's true.
Well, it's, in Matthew's in my world, we kept on hearing, and we still hear sometimes today, when the kids grow up, they'll start buying newspapers. Right. And it ain't happening.
No, and obviously the choices are my age or older.
It's like record albums. They're going to start. It's going to become a whole niche.
They're going to spin that vinyl. Right. And so I think to the kids today have such a different world and so many more choices and different choices. And I hope they experiment with those. And so, here's the other thing about it. And you've heard me do this before. The internet is not baked. It's not finished. The current proprietors are not the forever proprietors. Facebook is not forever. You guys who decided to quit it, have some things you can't do, but your life goes on. I don't think it's that big a deal. And I think that there will be other things. And I think maybe Zuckerberg sees that himself. That's why he's grasping for the metaverse. I think I've seen a dangerous trend lately. I saw two pieces from people I respect in the last week asking whether there's too much speech. And I so hate that question because who decides what's too much? But I do think we move into a world where we need services that do a better job of telling us what's worth listening to, who we care about, what's relevant to us, what's valuable to us, what's intelligent, what's accurate, all kinds of quality judgments where we're putting all this resources now into playing whack-a-mole with bad crap. Sorry, John, on Facebook. That's not going to get us very far. I almost said another word. What does that really gain us? It gains us nothing but a lot of stomach acid and agita. Whereas if we put resources, and this is what the institution of the publisher and the editor and the newspaper were, what are the institutions for this age? I hope young people invent those institutions to find stuff worth listening to. And
it's interesting that Anil Dash said that he was working on something that would help surface good content on Facebook, and Facebook shut him down and cut off access to its API.
Wow.
I didn't see that. I don't know that my starting point would be Facebook, though.
I mean, there's a lot of content on there.
There is. That's true. Yeah, I don't know where it is, but I think that but there's a lot of content on the web, too. It's also about the open web that I think we want to support.
Yeah,
bring back blogs and
RSS. Yeah, we need to go back to blogs and get our
general conversation.
Blog rolls going.
Let's head into the future. Let's go back to blogs. Sorry, Ann. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just saying I had a general conversation over the weekend with a friend just about having a voice for everybody. And it's great that everybody has a voice. And at the same time, it could be pretty problematic that some of the stuff that comes out of folks' mouths leads to a lot of misinformation and turmoil and chaos and all of that. But I don't know. I think that beats the alternative. I do like that.
Yeah.
Those other people that didn't really have a voice have a voice now, more so than them not having a voice and us dealing with the stuff that we have to deal with.